trailer, what if the Avengers died? Candyman blows my mind. All that in the episode. Bryan, hit that music. Let's do this. Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier, Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 61.
Two.
That's what I said. My name is Nick Valero.
This is Bryan, Rene.
And welcome to the show.
What a great way to open this episode.
No one knew that.
No one saw it. We can fix it in post. We won't fix it in post.
I have to fix it in post.
You're not going to fix it in post.
How are you going to fix that in post? He slurred it in between.
That's true.
1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Just call me the count, you know. A 1, a 2.
Don't do that. I was going to say.
So, as I was recording, a little fun fact. So, we actually started posting highlight reels of our podcast on TikTok. So
Thank
if
you
have
again,
not,
Bryan.
Yeah,
for
no, it's all
doing
good.
that.
Bryan just wanted to record whenever we mess up and then post it online and like highlight it and just highlight when we mess up.
I mean, it was that one line where he was like, "I'll find him naked." That cracked me up.
It was honestly that was the highlight of the podcast, honestly. Because I was watching that clip and I'm like, what else did we talk about? And I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, we talked about Free Guy.
Yeah, it was great. So
talking about Free Guy and how I'm gonna fight people naked, which is a legitimate strategy. You guys should try it.
It is a legitimate. No, it is a strategy.
Yeah.
It's like a legitimate one.
It's actually an old. I think that was like an old medieval, or was it medieval or like?
Are you sure you're not BSing this?
No, I swear to God.
No, I know it's true because I've read about this before.
Yeah,
it's like psychologically, if you were to see something that's like,
if you see a group of men running at you naked,
like Euro trip status?
No, like running at you naked with like axes.
Oh god!
Well, how terrified would you
That's
be?
super scary, you know?
Like they have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
they're like, I don't care.
They're like shame is just out the window, and then it's just like bam. like
when you get a chance, look it up.
Yeah.
no.
What website should I look that up?
And I killed.
I feel like
that's a trap.
I was gonna say
that's what we in the industry call the blue waffle. That's our generation.
There's another one where
5 minutes in, and I almost made him look up porn.
There's
men running naked.
I saw a TikTok where you look up animal zoo.
Right.
And the images, and it's actually pretty gross.
Oh yeah, no, don't.
Yeah.
There's certain things you just shouldn't look up in the internet.
So really quick, and I ended up getting. I was one of the foolish.
Oh no.
That got a key. I got a Disney key.
Oh, that's right.
That
came out this week,
yes.
right?
Magic key.
Yes.
Yeah.
Magical keys.
So I got out of work at 6:00.
Yeah.
Got home by 6:30, and got online and got in the queue. Was not able to purchase my key until 12:45 at night.
So you mean to tell me that people like can you still purchase the keys?
Yeah, you
can. It's just people were I don't know, but
the queue is still long though. It's still a really long queue. It's like almost like a 3 to 4 hour queue still.
See, I'm not. See, the thing is that I know that my girlfriend's gonna get her key, but I'm gonna get mine after I go to Disneyland, which will be October 15th.
So my question is, if that many people, unless these are fake queues.
No. The thing is
No,
that I did hear though is if you get it within this month or next month, it's because you're getting a deal. It's lower. They lowered the price for this specific.
It's super low.
It's super low right now.
Dirt cheap.
And it's gonna last until maybe September, and then after that you have to pay like the price that they're gonna be asking, which is I think it's like $20 more.
$20 more. Ooh.
Well, some people,
but that does add up.
It does add up.
It does add up. But what I mean is like, because this is the way I see it, is like if the queue is that long for these passes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you imagine how difficult it is going to be to like reserve? Like, imagine paying. Because here's the thing: when I used to have the the annual pass, huh?
All my reservations are open right now.
Yeah, he showed me the
Are they all
reservations. Yeah, dude.
Okay,
for
so
the
that's
next 2
fine.
months, he's golden.
Because, like,
That's like until December. I'm solid.
Because I remember when I had the pass, when my fiance and I had him, like we would be able to go to Disneyland like every weekend. Like we were there pretty much like every other weekend,
Right.
3-4 times a month. And that's the thing that I'm thinking about is like if you are spending over $1,000 at Disney, might as well go as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's your destination to go to, even if it's just to kind of like walk around for a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like you spend 2-3 hours there, you ride a ride, and you go home.
You go, yeah, that's the thing. And a lot of people do that. My girlfriend does that. She gets her passes and then she was just take her time
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
to do stuff.
But it's really cool too because you can just go and do things. Like I've always wanted to go. I haven't been to Avengers Campus yet. Like I want to go to.
that's
I really,
great.
Same here.
I really want to go to
That
Avengers
and,
Campus.
and Rise of Resistance.
You
haven't been on it.
Oh, that's right. You haven't been on Rise of
No,
Resistance.
no.
I've been on Rise of Resistance.
Did I ever tell you the story about Rise and how
I don't
it
think you
freaked
ever-
me out?
You know what? I'm trying to remember if you ever told us.
You didn't
No.
really talk about
No.
your Disney trip. You just kind of went like I went to Disneyland and then we moved on.
So I've never been to Batu, so that was a life-changing experience for
Wasn't
me.
it cool?
It's I think the best highlight. The highlight for me was that it's so well done. You forget you're in Anaheim, California.
You
Oh,
do.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
really do.
wow.
I get it. Like you could still hear certain. Disney is so secluded that no matter where you go, you can't hear like outside noises, like no cars, no nothing. Like I understand that, right? But what's so great about Batu is that the moment you get in there, because you've never been, right?
I've never been.
No, he's gonna go on
The moment you go in, pay attention to the amount of detail in the noise and atmosphere. You
Yeah.
can't hear a single bird. You can't hear the cars, even though the freeway is like right next to the place.
and also like the smells too.
Yeah.
like because think about it like this: you have Frontierland that's like literally right next to you, and then you also have Fantasyland, like right next to you. You could not tell that both of those like lands are right next to you.
No,
Oh,
and
wow.
Like not at all. And then not only that, but also once you're inside, you're completely immersed. Because what they did geniusly is the ramp that goes down into Batu. It like it's lower, and then they built like high walls. So when you look around, you can you fall into the illusion of I'm just here. Like this is all there is and everything like that, and you can go like kind of around the area. And it's sick. It's really, really cool. Also,
Yeah.
pick up some blue milk when you're there.
Definitely.
I didn't get the chance to do
Yeah,
that.
I'll
Just did the
definitely do
lightsaber.
that.
Yeah, I did the lightsaber and I went to Rise. But for me, the atmosphere. But 2 is
You didn't
my
get a chance
favorite.
to fly the Falcon?
I did.
Yeah,
Oh,
I saw
the
him,
Falcon was
dude.
so
I saw.
great.
I think it was either Andy that recorded it, or it was one of your friends. I think it was your
Might have
friend
been Sarah. Yeah.
And she I heard Bryan in the background, punch it, Chewie! He's just yelling, go, come on, guys, hey, come on. I'm just like, yep, that sounds like Bryan would. Yep, I'm like, yep, I'm not shocked that Bryan's yelling at everyone.
The first time I ever rode Smuggler's Run, I sat next to this like little girl, and she was my co-pilot. And then as soon as I got into the,
It's okay, sweetie. You don't. We can hit the bunch of stuff. It's fine. It's just the ride. Me inside.
Dude,
No.
I honestly thought it was a little messed up because I went for my birthday. That was my first time ever going to.
Why'd you say it's messed up?
Well, let him
I'm
talk
get-
about it.
I'm about to get there. So this family, so it's only me and my ex that went. So we got partnered up with this like small family of 4.
Oh, yeah.
And the small family of 4, the dad who was in a wheelchair, he got the pilot seat, and then I asked him, "Hey, it's my birthday. Can I pilot the ship?" And he's like, "All right." But can my daughter still co-pilot? And
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, she can be my Chewie. Let's do it. And then, he was like, all right, cool. So then we went to the front, and as we were setting up, I was really excited. I was stepping into the Falcon, almost brought a tear to my eye. It was just
It's so good.
It's
Is it?
the amount of
so
the amount
good.
of detail in the Falcon, like the cockpit, is amazing. And then also, if you watch watch the new documentary that's there about it. It's so interesting on their idea on how they did it, because it's so imagine Star Tours, but you know how Star Tours, it has the open railing where it's like one door, another door, and then people basically just walk through. You're funneling through. It's basically shuffling cattle. In this one, it's literally a what was it? It's like a pie.
Okay.
So there's 6 cars in one wheel. So as soon as you get into the Falcon, as it moves slowly, as soon as the doors close, it then moves and then it goes to another cockpit so another group of people can come in. But it then dumps you out on the other side. So when you get out, there's nobody waiting for you. So it feels like you were the only people riding the Falcon.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, oh, people are like in a wait list, like people are there. Not only that, but also while you're waiting for the line, like to get into your cockpit, you're waiting inside of the galley of the Falcon.
Yeah.
You can sit at
wow.
like the back. You can sit at the tables. You can sit at everything like that. You can play with the buttons.
That's awesome.
So
Wow.
to not spoil Rise for you, because
Yeah.
Rise for me, that's what they did. Is like I knew what Rise looked like,
Rise was sick.
but they think like the Falcon. If you think the Falcon is good, Rise is 10 times better in terms of the queue. I'm not going to tell you about the queue. That's for your own experience to
Okay.
go through. Do you want me to tell you
It's a
my
ride
freak out in the
upon-
ride,
it's
though?
Its own ride.
Do you want me to tell you the freak out in the ride? I had the cut up portion because there was a bit of a mishap
Glitch?
that had.
yeah,
Yeah,
someone
bitch.
tells me that happens from
Yeah,
time
so
to time.
they cut my scene short, but there is a small portion that had me freak out just a little bit.
So Mandy not told me, but she mentioned there is some point there's like a drop.
okay, so you know about that.
I know I know about
So,
a drop. I don't know the details of
I
that.
didn't know about that.
Okay.
So do you want me to tell you a story?
Oh, tell me your don't tell me what happened exactly, just tell me your emotions through it.
So the entire trip was like, for me, like I was just excited to be immersed and be in an actual like Star Destroyer. That for me was like
Yeah.
great.
That was
right.
awesome.
So
What are you doing?
What do you mean? What am I doing?
He literally just said, "Don't tell me anything."
No,
And
that's
you
not.
literally-
I mean, you're in it. You
just
know.
said.
You know the freaking photos like tell you where you're at, where the freaking stormtroopers are at. Like you've seen it.
Yeah.
But like every aspect and all the details were freaking fantastic. The drop part, they didn't tell me. So
They didn't tell anybody.
It's
not like there was a person in the front going like, "There's a drop at the
no,
end."
they didn't tell me, and I don't do well with drops. I've never ridden the Guardians, the tower.
What?
I can't do drops. I can't do anticipation.
Dude, I
Roller
love
coasters
those.
kill me. So we're in that part, and in my head, I wish I could tell you more details about it. But in my head, the scene that was in front of me didn't click what was going on. Like I didn't click. It didn't, you know what I'm talking about. It didn't click with what's going on.
Yeah.
And I started to see the scene transition. And I look at my buddy, because they split our group up. So it was me and my buddy John. And like the scene probably lasts like 5 seconds. 2 seconds in, I look over, I'm like, are we going to drop? We're going to drop. We're going to drop. And then bam, it hit me. And I just remember, just a giant
That's
scream
funny.
came out of me. And I held on for like dear life. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize what was going on. He was cracking up. We get out of the ride. He was dying. He's like, I didn't want to tell you a single thing because I wanted to see your honest to God
that's
reaction.
awesome, yeah.
But I didn't care that the drop wasn't that bad, but I didn't
No,
care
yeah.
because it was so
It just
immersive.
happened, yeah.
It was so great.
It's so immersive, and honestly, it follows a really dope story. It's really interesting. I can't wait till you ride it because I have to admit, if Disney intends on making all their future rides like Rise of the Resistance, they're gonna make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, Rise is a huge.
Rise is definitely an experimental thing, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be really sick.
I want to
afterwards.
try and break one of the cast members.
You
can.
don't just don't. And the only reason I tell you why,
Don't they get in trouble?
no, it's not that they
No.
get in trouble. It's that a lot of the cast members there really love their job, and I know that to get into it, from my own personal experiences, to get into the actual like land to work at, they have to it's a hard interview process because you really have to know your knowledge. You really have to show
Really?
character. Yeah. When I did my interview, because I tried getting into it, I didn't get it because I was tardy a lot at the time. So that was like the only thing they said, like, oh, your interview was fine. It was just because you were too much, like you were late too often, that we didn't allow you to like get into it. And I think I broke one of my interviewers because the final question they asked me was, what's the fastest starship, the USS Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon?
Falcon.
I said the Enterprise. Because warp speed's faster than light speed.
Parsecs.
But warp speed.
Parsecs.
I'm not going to argue with you. So I
was gonna
said
say,
I
yeah.
said the Enterprise, and I remember the guy was like, well, okay then. And I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I love both franchises. I'm not going to lie, you know?
Because they're looking for you to say Falcon.
Okay, I'm sorry.
the Falcon.
Sorry, I don't suck up that way.
And you wonder why you didn't get it?
It's fine. It's fine. But no, yeah, a lot of the cast members there are honest to God, really into it.
So I'm excited to finally have my pass back. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I'm gonna meet up Rene and his girlfriend when they go.
Yeah.
I'm eventually gonna build my lightsaber and stuff like that. So
And we can all show up with our lightsabers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we can cross swords. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
We'll leave it there. Can we move on to the topics of the
Yeah,
podcast?
absolutely.
Yes.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about, Brian, you didn't see it, but
No, I'm out here.
you didn't see it,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed the heck out of it. I saw it last night.
Same here.
Renee saw it last night. We saw it an hour apart from each other.
Yeah.
Candyman.
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 Is awesome.
It's such.
So,
it's a. Yeah.
It's done with such respect and love for the original movie
Mm-hmm.
that it's almost impossible if you were a Candyman fan.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alerts.
No, actually, I'm not. I wasn't gonna spoil it.
No,
Oh, I
me
thought you guys
neither.
were gonna- I
No,
thought you guys
we're-
wanted a
it's just-
spoiler.
It just came out.
It
So,
literally because
yeah.
last night was literally the premiere.
Yeah.
Last night was the.
I completely forgot it was.
Yeah, but
coming
this
out.
podcast issue releases on
I
Wednesday.
mean, we can talk about it if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler
alright.
alert.
So I enjoyed the main reason I enjoy this movie is because I feel like Jordan Peele, what he really did is he gave it that same kind of respect and nuance that he did with like Get Out.
Yeah.
With all of his like recent horror films, and he really did kind of bring it back to what the original film was about.
This is a sequel to the original, right?
It's a sequel to the original movie.
How did the original end?
The original ends with the main character, Helen Lynn.
Helen Lynn, I think.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Helen
gonna
Lynn.
look it up. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
It's Helen Lynn, and basically Candyman steals from the neighborhood. He steals one of the kids, and he tries to sacrifice him to become like his new vessel of
The new
Candyman.
Yeah.
The new Candyman vessel. So what ends up happening is that he kills all these people, and the cops think that Helen's the one that's doing it.
Okay.
They don't believe that because obviously,
No one's going to believe a paranormal story.
Yeah, nobody's going to believe a paranormal story. Not only that, but also all these murders are always there. It always happens because he does it in front of her, where he murders these people and everything else. So the movie ends with him trying to sacrifice this baby, her jumping into this fire pit where he's thrown this baby, and she pulls the baby out, and her and Candyman fight to the death.
How does Candyman look like, anyways?
Tony Todd.
It's Tony Todd. Here, hold on. I'll pull up a.
Okay, so it's a sequel to. So it's set in like recent times.
Because the original Candyman movie came out in 1992.
So it is 27 years later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 27 years later. It was actually, and the idea of it is that. So the idea of this movie is what happens when
You don't have to move it.
That's Candyman. The actor, at least. And then that's his out. He has like a hook for a hand and everything.
Oh, so he just looks like a normal person.
Yeah. But he has a hook for a hand, and then like he has like bees coming out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's the whole persona.
Not
of
only
him.
that, but also he can only be seen through mirrors.
Yes.
Dope.
Oh, yeah. So if you don't know, to summon Candyman, you have to say it in the mirror, kind of like Bloody Mary, because that's where he takes the aspect from.
Yes.
Is you have to say Candyman in the reflection 5 times.
Well, it takes two urban legends and mixes them together.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Hooked Man, which is the one where it's like what was it
the teenagers parked and
the
there's
teenagers
a hook,
park and there's a guy with a hook for a hand and he murders
yeah.
them, and Bloody Mary, and they combine the two together and they gave you Candyman.
Mm-hmm. And this is written by Clive Barker.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So like the hash slinging slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so, but the interesting thing is that because the first one was very nuanced, it had a lot of like urban decay, the ghetto. It has it really does have this like what was it, like this interesting story. And then once you start getting into like Candyman 2, 3, 4, they become mostly slashers. Like it becomes more of like a Freddy Krueger movie.
So this is a direct sequel to the first one.
Very first one. It pretends like the
2,
so
3,
far
yeah.
so far it pretends that 2, 3, and 4 do not exist.
Yeah.
Which is good because the first one was really good. This is the sequel that it needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the idea of the movie is that child who was supposed to be sacrificed to Candyman grows up and then comes back
Comes back to the same town,
Goes back to the same town and neighborhood,
city. Yeah.
and he ends up getting involved with Candy. He gets introduced to the Candyman story again,
Okay.
and basically Candyman starts like latching into him. And you then find out that he isn't the only Candyman. Candyman has been centuries old. There's always been a Candyman.
Yeah. From different people have become Candyman. And
Yeah.
it's all from...
Social injustice.
Yeah, basically. They were all...
Of course, Jordan Peele.
Social injustice.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, too. What I like about it is that it doesn't make it... It doesn't make it like preachy and shove it in your face. It makes it very relevant, and it just makes it very organic as well. Too.
Yeah, that's
So-
the one thing I can admire about Jordan Peele is that it's going to take a message like that, and then it integrates it in a story without making it sound like it's actually like the main thing.
Yeah.
What is it? The Purge kind of like that's the thing I didn't like about The Purge is that it really kind of like latched
moving forward from the movie. Yeah, like
Yeah,
every
it-
sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. Every
it like
sequel got
tried to
really-
it had a good idea in terms of that
Yeah.
and it was a really good concept, but then as we progressed more and more into it felt like lazy writing. It didn't feel like it really tried to integrate the idea.
I mean,
even
we
more.
see that in the trailer for the Forever Purge.
that already came out, didn't it?
Yeah, and but that trailer alone was just so bad.
Yeah.
You know,
It didn't entice me to like watch it.
not at all.
But this one, I really enjoy. The other reason in which was really, really interesting because the story of the Candyman that the main character gets introduced to is based off of this. So there's this guy in a neighborhood, and he's missing his arm, so he does have a prosthetic. He has a prosthetic hook, and
He worked at a candy factory.
Yeah, he worked at a candy factory, so he would walk around the neighborhood and he would hand children candy.
Okay.
Yeah,
One
just
day,
free candy.
Yeah, just free candy, and he would give
Not
it to
weird
the
at
kids.
all.
Well, yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, what happened was that there was one day where in the neighborhood, a Caucasian kid bit into a piece of candy, and there was a razor blade inside of it.
Do you see that in the movie?
No,
No,
You
it's
do-
just
Oh,
that
like,
that
that's
that
gross,
was like
dude.
basically like
you do see a razor blade in a candy.
in candy. Yeah,
And it does cut one of the characters like fingers, and it's kind of like a showing that that person was there. But the idea was that the first person that the cops thought was that guy.
Yeah.
And he had been hiding out, and then he saw a kid and he tried to offer him candy again, and the kid basically ratted him out, and the cops went down, didn't ask him any questions, and beat him to death.
yeah.
And that's what kind of transformed him into the Candyman.
And then a week after that guy died, there was still candy being handed out with razor blades. So it wasn't him after all.
He was innocent.
He was innocent. When-
So the idea is always that the Candymen are accused of a crime they haven't done, and then persecuted for it without any without any courts, without anything like that.
Yeah, no trial, yeah.
No trial, just immediately executed.
All right, so now to kind of progress the topic a little bit forward, I don't want the ending to be spoiled because
That ending is really good. I don't want
Yeah,
to.
you
Yeah.
can tell me afterwards because I'm probably not going to watch it in theaters. I'll watch it later. But
Yeah. Well-
I think
Yeah, okay.
better analysis and questions to you guys since you guys were the ones that saw it. In terms of Jordan Peele movies, how does this rank amongst Us, Get Out?
It's definitely up there. Not only that, but also the actual director is the director for The Marvels.
the sequel to Captain Marvel 2.
She's in The Marvels, the
The Marvels or Eternal?
No, The Marvels.
The Marvels.
The
That's
Captain-
right, 'cause-
That's the new. Yeah, that's the new
That's
logo.
that's the new title for the Captain Marvels 2. That director directed Candyman, and she knows how to use a camera.
Does she?
Like,
What else has she done?
I'll click her right now.
yeah, but she knows how to. She really.
Her name's
knows,
Nia De Costa.
Yes.
Nia De Costa. She has done a movie called Little Woods. Oh, so she's done just indie stuff. So
So it's a lot of.
So she
indie
only
work.
done 7 movies, and she's only done a movie called. She's done a short called Night and Day, a movie called Little Woods. She's directed 2 episodes of a show called Top Boy. Did Candyman, and then she just got announced for doing one called The Lincoln Conspiracy, and then she's filming right now The Marvels.
That's interesting.
And she has writing wise,
But I have to say, the way that she shot it, not only that, but also just the way that she showed action.
yeah.
inside of that movie was so engaging and it was so intense, and you felt the dread that was happening inside of it.
So did Jordan Peele produce this, not direct
He
it?
wrote it. He wrote
he
it.
wrote it.
He co-wrote it.
He wrote it, and he let her direct it because honestly, she has done like just not a lot of things and put a lot of faith in her.
That's interesting.
That's really
But
cool.
she did an amazing job.
She did, yeah.
That movie is shot so beautifully.
Oh, God, because the way
There's an actual there's a drone scene where they used, not like they actually like an actual drone scene, but like it's a scene that they used with a drone on a camera.
Uh-huh.
And it's such a cool scene because you know this woman's going to die. And it's a shot where you see the main character and he's freaking out because he just saw himself as Candyman. And he freaks out and he sees the woman, the art reviewer that was there. He's in her house and he like freaks out, goes like, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. He runs out. Mind you, this woman has just said Candyman's name 5 times in a mirror. And as soon as he runs out, you immediately kind of like see it pan out. You don't really hear anything. You just hear the city. Mm-hmm. And you pan out from her city skyscraper and you just see her get levitated in the air, smack up against the window, and then just smeared across the window and thrown as like as the camera like
keeps panning out,
like out, and then you see like the bustle, like an actual. You basically just see people living their lives above her inside of all the other like glass windows, and it's kind of like this is just another day.
That's interesting.
What's also really good, again, I want to say that I love about it is that when they're telling a story that happened in the past, a backstory, they are doing these silhouette paper puppets. Yes. And it's just beautifully done, like detailed, but like the way I was like, I can just watch Candyman like this if I wanted to. It's those silhouette puppets, they just put in the, with like a sheet and everything. Super good.
You know what it looks like? It looks like when in Harry Potter, when they're explaining the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
It looks like that, but a lot cruder.
So that's a directorial decision to do that kind of stuff. What I want to know is how much influence or how much control did Jordan Peele have in this movie? Because directors, if Jordan Peele wrote this or co-wrote this, produced it, and then it was what's her face's name that directed it, I want to know if Jordan Peele was the one that made the decisions in bringing in certain cinematographers and certain editors for this as well. Because usually it's the producers that say. Sometimes you'll get, directors who say, I've worked with this cinematographer, for a really long time and I want to bring him forward. If this lady didn't even hasn't done anything big, I don't know if she has any connections in terms of this is the cinematographer I work with a lot.
I'm sure that there was a lot of
unless it's one of Jordan Peele's people.
So Jordan Peele did produce. He's not executive producer. He is a producer. And also a writer.
Can you see sorry to cut you off, Nick, but see if you can look it up before we move on. I'll ask another question in the meantime as well. Who was the cinematographer for Us, and who's the cinematographer for Candyman? Because I think that'll kind of give us a hint on this.
Just look up Candyman's cinematographer, and then that'll show you whether or not he worked on this.
Yeah. Next question that I have for you in terms of progression into, because I feel like a lot of Jordan Peele movies just don't they're one and dones. They're kind of they were meant for messages specifically.
This movie could definitely become a franchise.
That's what I wanted to ask. Yeah, sequels or not.
It definitely could become a franchise. I looked at Rene after the ending, and especially because you should definitely watch, if you're gonna watch it. They did it so cleverly because at the very end of the movie, they ended up doing those shadow puppets during the credits, and they described how every single Candyman up until now was persecuted and then killed, and what their crime was. So you don't even realize that the credits are rolling. You don't even realize that you're sitting through the credits because you're so engaged with this puppet art that just has music and no dialogue to it. And by the time it's over, the credits have been finished and the lights turn on. And it's so engaging and so eerie and kind of creepy that by the end of it, you were like, oh, I definitely see where this movie could go for a sequel.
Should you want one?
Honestly?
Because that's the thing, is that Jordan Peele, here's the thing I love so much about Jordan Peele, kind of how he produces his movies. They're so well done that it's you almost don't want it to go again. because these kind of like I don't want to call them masterpieces because I feel like everyone can consume media like that differently. A lot of these movies, it's like you can sit through it and be like, that was a very fun ride, that was a very interesting ride. Your brain processes things differently. But more often than not, you usually get these directors where they're like, I don't want to see a second one of this because you probably can't reproduce what I felt here.
In fairness, I think that if you were to make a sequel of this movie, it would be vastly different.
Gotcha.
It would not have the same feel to it. It wouldn't have anything like that. But you could do it. It would be really sick. From the idea, and we'll tell you the idea afterwards. Based off of the end credits of what it was, it would be a really cool sequel. Did they need to do it? No. Because also the way that it ends, it's kind of like, oh, the legend continues and stuff like that. And it's just kind of like another version of the legend.
Gotcha. What did you find?
So it looks like he got didn't like resume or reuse any people. So it's a whole new group of people compared to he did for us and to Candyman.
Can you see the budget on Candyman? Sorry, I'm asking so many questions here, but I kind of want to know because that's the interesting thing is I feel like Jordan Peele went from like making very, not low budget because millions and millions is low budget, but like from a lower budget to like.
I'm not going to lie though. Like there are some like really cool shots inside of the movie, but a lot of it could have been done with like a lot of it was done with like a lot of really small special effects.
So it was $25 million to make.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is just them shooting a movie and then them adding like a little bit of special effects.
Mm-hmm.
The drone one was probably special effects. I don't think they managed to get a skyscraper of like the city and be like, oh yeah, everyone here act normal. I doubt it.
No, I mean, I'm sure they filled it with actors and stuff like that, but I mean, or anything else. Because
they probably just used like half a skyscraper like that and then green screen the rest of it.
Probably.
Like what they did with, what's it called? The Army of the Dead.
Yeah, but the thing I really liked about it as well was that the kills inside of the movie, I kind of didn't feel bad for a lot of them. No. Because at a certain point, you kind of feel like the main character is almost using Candyman to his own advantage.
Because it shows you what the main character's struggles are doing and the people he's in, because he's an artist.
He's a struggling. Well, he's not struggling. Yeah. He's a once famous artist.
Yeah, and he's trying to get his fame back. He's trying to be relevant. He's trying to be, he wants to be back in the art world because he has this creativity. He's not finding it though, and he finds it through the story of Candyman.
Gotcha. Okay.
And not only that, but also he's communicating with these.
I just not realize I had still all.
Yeah,
I wanted to hold on to that.
I wanted the entire podcast. I was like, I wasn't gonna. I didn't tell you on purpose.
I was touching like this. I'm like, oh shit.
So, but the interesting thing about it is that the people that you meet. Oh, that's so cute.
Shut up.
Anyway, what was it? The people that he's kind of interacting with, they're very insensitive.
Yes.
To like the struggle of the neighborhood, or they have their own kind of.
They're very
views.
Selfish. Yeah.
Yeah, they have their own views of like, what was it like? What was one of the quotes where he was trying to explain the ghetto. And he was trying to explain like how exactly it happened and how like how what was it like African American people were pushed into the ghettos and then by like white governments and white city officials, and then immediately they pushed them out so that way they can then build skyscrapers and put like new housing inside of it. Mm-hmm. And then she immediately turns to him and goes, "Well, isn't that because of you people?" And immediately, like, he's just kind of like...
Yeah, he's stunned.
Like, what do you mean, like, you people? And then she's like, artists, cheap, like, people who need, like, cheap housing and everything else. And then, like, so she's trying to, like, fix what she's saying.
But she doesn't care.
She doesn't, but she also doesn't care if she's offending him.
Now I got to see this movie.
Dude, it's super good.
Honestly, the horror aspect of it isn't as extensive of like jump scares or anything like that.
Let me put it to you this way. Jordan Peele movies, even when he was, I don't know if he's still doing Twilight Zone, but like...
I don't know if that show's still
going
around.
on,
the new
right?
one? Is it?
Twilight Zone still going on?
It was on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
But point being is that Jordan Peele has this kind of like really good vision of how to make a horror movie not feel... Like it's a new methodology of like horror. Like the way I see it is, if I were to compare it to something that I could relate to, Ridley Scott. Like when Ridley Scott did Alien, he took the theme of horror and thriller and worked around with it differently. Instead of it being like, oh, jump scares and monsters and blood and stuff like that.
I mean, he still used them.
He still used them.
It
But
was canceled.
It was canceled?
It was canceled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So the thing
honestly,
that Ridley
it
Scott...
was on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
No, it was on CBS All Access, and then when Paramount Plus was gonna take it, like absorb
It got
CBS,
canceled.
it got canceled.
So...
That sucks. Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple episodes of it. It was pretty
They're
good.
not bad.
They're
They
not
weren't
bad.
It's pretty
But not Jordan Peele, but Ridley Scott did this thing with Alien, which is like one of my favorite aspects, is that his method of horror was tiny spaces. He made you feel claustrophobic, and that is what got the audience to really fear the alien. Because how do you escape something that's constantly chasing you when you're in tiny vents, right? So
Not only that, but also what do you do when you can't leave?
exactly, you're stuck.
I literally can't. I'm stuck inside of this ship. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't just like exit the ship. I'll die.
So like us, Jordan Peele, right?
Right.
Excuse me. It is a horror element. You still get like those like slasher bloody vibes that happen in certain scenes and stuff like
I feel
that.
like it's more like a thriller.
But that's what it is that it makes you think. It's like, okay, you're anticipating the death, you're anticipating the thing, but at the same time, there's a mystery to it. What is going on with this movie? You didn't realize what actually was going on until almost like the last part of the movie. Whereas a lot of common horror nowadays, it doesn't do that. It's like it tries to keep you afloat with a certain mystery. It tries to like, keep you in suspense, but all the while you're just kind of like anticipating the next scare.
Right.
And Jordan Peele movies technically really don't make you feel that way. It's like,
don't.
there's a scare coming up. He's kind of getting it out of the way. It's still a fun ride, but you're still trying to figure out the mystery behind it.
There's a scene where I the only thing I can kind of compare it to is it's in the Hitchcock movie
Birds.
Birds.
Oh, really? Are you
Is
serious?
it-
I was just joking.
No, is it Birds? The one where where there's a bomb inside of the inside the dining room.
Okay.
I forget which movie it is. Do you happen to know it, Rene?
No, I don't know it by heart, but I can.
But
Bomb
anyway,
in dining room. Google that. See what happens.
no, yeah, it's a Hitchcock film with bomb in a dining room, and like literally, what he's doing is Hitchcock is showing the bomb ticking, and he's showing the dining room, then showing the bomb ticking, and he's basically showing that time is going down.
Yeah.
And then once it starts getting like down to like 20, 30 seconds, he never shows the bomb again. So you're expecting.
Sabotage.
There he goes. So in Sabotage, there's that scene, and while you're watching it, you're expecting the bomb to
Oh,
go
it came out
off.
in 1936.
Yeah, that you're expecting the bomb go off, and it builds up the suspense inside of you, and you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You just you're counting down with it, and you're trying to figure out, okay, the bomb's gonna happen now, bomb's gonna happen now, bomb's gonna happen now, and then it doesn't really it doesn't happen.
We could watch it on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Dope.
cool.
Oh, there's an Alfred Hitchcock collection.
Yeah,
on there.
I forgot.
Birds is on there.
Yeah,
I love
but-
Birds.
My favorite one's Rear Window. I've always liked
Yeah, Rear Window is really good. That's what Disturbia is based after.
What about Hannibal? Did he do Hannibal?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Who am I thinking did Hannibal?
Hannibal with Edward Norton.
That's Red Dragon. With Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah,
But Hannibal is with.
We're all just kind of confused.
we all just confused ourselves. We all confused
The
ourselves.
triple confusion.
It was
But go on
circle.
about-
It was circular. No, but
Sabotage,
anyway,
yeah.
But that scene in Sabotage, because the bomb goes off when you least expect it.
Yeah.
And but you had that pit in your stomach because
Yeah.
of it. There's a scene inside of it where there's like a group of cheerleaders, and the same thing kind of happens.
Yeah.
Where they're all kind of daring each other to say Candyman to each other. And they're like, no, you do it, and they're trying to be very silly. And after they do it, like at that point, you're kind of looking around in like the reflective areas to see
Yeah.
where exactly Candyman is, because you're like, is he here? Like what? Is it going to happen? Like
That's
what's
the thing in this movie. What's great about it is that you see Candyman only through reflections.
Yeah.
You don't see him do the killings in like right.
You
in,
see the
in
reflections.
He's
do
him-
killings and
basically
reflections.
invisible. He's
Yeah.
invisible.
Yeah.
and like you see like little glimpses of him. It's very much the shark in Jaws.
Yeah.
Where like you barely see
Mm-hmm.
you barely see him, and then like you'll see like a glimpse of him, and then
Mm-hmm.
he'll look back, and then like you see like something actually getting destroyed in in like your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting and it's so cool. And in that scene, you're kind of just waiting for this like this like massacre to happen. And it starts happening slowly.
Yeah.
It's not like he just like steps up and then just kills all 5 of them at once. No, it's like it starts happening like very slowly, where he just starts kind of picking people off. He locks the door into the bathroom. And it's so interesting. And that moment where like they're going into it. Not only that, but also it does put a little more social justice, where it's it's a bunch of Caucasian girls making fun of a black girl, and and then they all get murdered violently.
They all get murked. They all get murked.
To finish off this topic, because we still have 2 other things to talk about. Would you recommend this movie to?
Dude, yes.
Yes.
I
would-
want to watch it again.
I would recommend it, but watch the original. Because when you watch the original and then this one, the payoff's really great.
Gotcha.
Because there's an
Cool.
experience you're watching in the movie when you're like, oh crap, like that's really cool. They reference that in the new one from,
I
from
remember.
the first
I
one.
remember
Yeah.
this. I know who this character
Yeah,
is.
because they talk about what happens in the first one.
Like
yeah.
very like for a while.
Yeah.
Like they spend a lot of time trying to describe the events in the first one. Not only that, but it's also interesting because if you've seen the first one, you can decipher for yourself what is legend
And what's
and
real?
what's real.
Yeah.
Dope. Come here real quick. There we go. Ready to move on?
Yeah, it's
All right. Hey, Feige.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Why'd you release the trailer to
That wasn't my
Spider-Man?
fault. That was my fault. I told someone I wrote it on the note. And they didn't read
Way
it well.
to release. Hang on.
Spider-Man.
No way home.
Okay, so
Okay.
wait. So are we gonna talk about like the leak
So
first?
the
So,
leak
hold on.
happened
I have
like
a
on the
que- I-
21st,
hold on.
right?
it
I
happened
have
like the
a-
day before it got
Okay.
released.
I have a quick question because I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot we can talk about Spider-Man. Should we talk about What If first and then get into Spider-Man after?
Oh yeah, because what if?
What If is
All
kind
right,
of short.
Feige, what was your choice? Why'd you kill everyone?
Because I feel like I do
was
feel
bored.
like What If is honestly, I did feel like that. But you know what? I thought it was I thought it was an interesting episode.
I actually really liked it.
I was shocked.
Not
I
only-
liked it more than the T'Challa Star-Lord one.
I also think it's funny that they basically just confirmed that if they wanted to, Scott Lang could have just murdered Thanos
Right?
if he felt like just going up his butt and just like
Yeah, but he didn't do that. They literally just like in the heart, you know?
yeah, like that was some intense stuff. Like watching Hulk explode.
That was yeah. Honestly, like you see him like become like a balloon. He's like, "Ah," and then boom. It's like-
Basically-
blows up into smoke.
Who was it? It was Pym.
It was Hank Pym.
It was Hank
Which
Pym.
I liked because honestly, it made sense in a way if you honestly think about it.
No, it does. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Okay, so my first thought after watching this was I felt uncomfortable because holy crap, like
do you want to
everyone
explain
died.
the episode?
Yeah, okay, so
Because
basically
you're talking about it, and I feel
in
like you should
episode 3 of
explain
in
what-
episode 3 of What If, basically the Avengers Initiative is about to happen. It takes place during the events
Fury's week.
in-
Fury's big week.
in Iron Man 2, right?
It's
Yeah.
it's in Iron Man 2. That also takes place in Fury's big week because technically Iron Man 2, Hulk, and also Thor happen all within days of each other.
Exactly. So, scene starts. He's gonna go and take, Tony Stark into the Avengers Initiative, and Black Widow stabs him with the antidote that's supposed to temporarily cure him. He dies.
Yes.
Then we get Thor,
We
the
had Thor.
hammer,
Yeah.
where
Thor.
they're trying to figure
And
out what's going on.
Hawkeye, yeah, and
Thor
Hawkeye's-
brutally beats up security guards to a point where I got uncomfortable, and I'm like, at one point I saw an arm bend the wrong way, and I'm like, this is a cartoon, right? This is like something kids are supposed to watch.
You know what's funny though is that as I was watching it, I could not help but think this looks exactly like Archer.
It does.
The animation?
No, it does.
No, you're getting an Archer vibe
In terms of the animation?
in terms
Yes.
of like how everything is. Yeah.
And the swiftness of the animation and everything like that, especially during action scenes, like
Yeah.
when they're fighting, it very much looks like Archer. Because I watched What If, and then Archer popped on my Hulu queue afterwards, and then I started watching it, and I was like, did they just use the same animation? Because it looks almost identical.
Just 3D.
they put a couple more dimensions on it.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing.
So
Because even the coloration looks the same.
Thor's about to get his hammer. Hawkeye,
He's
releases
holding-
the arrow
Mhm.
and says, I didn't kill him. They arrest him. Cool. Okay. Well, Thor's dead. Straight to the heart. That's fun to know that he could just
Yeah.
get shot in the heart and he dies.
Well, he was
Well,
he was mortal.
He was John Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
Hawkeye gets taken in prison, or he's in a little cell because he's the one that killed Thor.
Nick Fury goes like, I'm going to talk to him. He's dead.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So that leaves Hulk and Black Widow.
And Black Widow's on the run trying to figure out what's happened and
Yeah.
what happened to the needle that was injected into Stark.
Finds out that it's not biological or anything like that. She finds Bruce Banner hiding in the closet.
Which
Oh,
is
you
Mark
didn't-
Ruffalo.
Yeah.
That's so great. I
It
love
is.
it. It felt weird because you're so used to like
Edward
that
Norton.
movie being Edward Norton.
Yeah.
And then when you hear Mark Ruffalo, you're like, oh yeah. You're like,
Oh, that's right. And then there's a Stan Lee cameo. Stan
is?
Lee's Pizza.
Oh yeah.
Uniform, yeah. So there's that. Black Widow's about to take him out, but the army arrives and says like, "No, we got to take care of this guy." Straight on, they shoot him. Hulk turns Hulk, and then
then
he
explodes.
dies by explosion. We're like, "What the hell happened here?" Black Widow goes and does some investigation.
Figures it out.
She figures it out. Says it's all about hope. Dies brutally,
Yeah, he beats her to death.
which is freaking. I was like, it's scary.
Yeah.
In a way, because she literally gets dragged underneath a bookcase and we don't know what happened to her afterwards. Then the scene ends with pretty much Nick Fury and Loki making a pact because Loki wants
Wants justice for his brother.
Well, the idea
Exactly.
I actually did think that idea was interesting of Thor dying on Earth, and Loki is unopposed for the throne now,
yeah.
and is now trying to take his conquering of Earth as this is rational
So
Yeah.
So here's the problem with that happened at the ending. In the end,
because they attack
Hank
us.
Pym gets arrested, or he doesn't get arrested, but he gets turned into Loki because Loki wanted the body. And then Loki kind of figures out that there's no defenders for Earth, so he takes over and basically conquers it entirely. Nick Fury then proposes the idea, which was mentioned in the MCU, which is like the Avengers Initiative is an idea, essentially. And,
Yes.
these people don't represent the Avengers. This is just an idea. The last scene is basically, Nick Fury wiping the iceberg, and you see Cap's shield and Captain Marvel there, and they're about to start the new Avengers. Or technically just the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
My problem with that ending is this. And sorry, we didn't say spoiler warning, but at this point, it's already been a week since episode 3, so should have watched it.
That's
if
true.
anything. Yeah,
You're already watching the new one.
yeah, exactly.
it
By
good?
this point,
I
let us
don't know.
know.
I haven't watched it
Let
yet.
us know.
He has the Captain Strange. This is the Doctor Strange one, isn't it?
I think
I
so.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So my problem with that ending was, we can all agree that we've seen this before, right? The Avengers' death. It's been comic book arcs, like it's been in arcs before.
It's happened.
We've seen it before.
Or
so
an Avenger, or an ex-Avenger going,
Rogue.
just rogue and murdering everybody.
yeah. So this idea isn't new, but I feel like what was missed out on this episode, as good as it was we didn't see who could have taken the mantles as the next Avengers, because we knew Cap was still alive. We knew
Yeah.
Captain Marvel was there because of the beeper that was shown in the episode, but we didn't see what could have happened from then on afterwards. Because
And again, that plays on the whole. I think we can all agree that these episodes need to be longer.
they do, because my fiance and I sat there for like 15 minutes afterwards going like, okay, well, what could have affected this process? I don't even think we would have had Peter Parker here, because we would have had a Spider-Man, but the Parker that we know in the
No,
MCU,
he would have died.
How?
the
Whiplash.
attack.
Whiplash attacks Stark Expo.
Oh, that's right. That's canon.
Oh, that
No, but then there was
no. Feige never confirmed
yes,
that.
he did. He
Yeah,
said
he
that's
did.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he said that was
that's Peter
Spider-Man.
Parker.
Feige,
But-
why are you doing this?
No, but then
No, Feige, answer the question. Why'd you do this?
I don't know.
Why would you?
Because technically after that moment he's captured.
I'm
Whiplash.
trying to think.
But Whiplash is now working with Justin Hammer.
But
Yeah.
then Stark Expo wouldn't have happened.
Yes, it would have because Stark
still
Expo
happening.
was still happening at the time.
Still happening.
So then who would have ran it?
Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts
But
at the
they were in the
time.
middle. But they were in the middle of Stark Expo.
Okay,
But if Tony Stark died, would they cancel Stark Expo though?
exactly.
Do you really think Justin Hammer would have let them?
Yes.
Well, no, but I think that he would have
Well, no.
no say. I mean, I feel like he wouldn't have much power over
Point
that.
being, let's
what
say
I'm
that.
saying is that Whiplash would have
Let's just say.
destroyed. He would have destroyed everything.
Let's
Yeah.
just say that Parker lived, right? He would have become
Okay.
Spider-Man. Let's say that this world still has a Spider-Man.
So
In
let's
this
say
world-
ripple effect. Instead of going to Stark Expo, he would go to like Tony Stark's funeral because he admired Tony Stark.
okay,
So he wouldn't be at Stark Expo.
but
I
would
would
he have still
imagine-
turned into Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
there's no evidence that Stark was directly involved with.
but you see the questions that we're asking is what's affecting like what could have happened here.
Yeah.
Like they played on the what if. We saw the what if the Avengers died. We didn't see the full result. And that's the issue I have. Are we still going to get a Spider-Man? Does Black Panther still exist in this world?
Yes.
Do we get does he even have an issue with, or like is he even going to join the initiative? Because does Ultron even happen now that Tony's dead?
That's true.
Right?
Ultron never gets born. He's both what was it? Because both Banner and also Stark die.
So then you get those questions because
Or
then
Vision would never be a thing too.
like one of the big reasons why Black Panther gets introduced is because of the Sokovian Accords and him trying to like say that this is the thing that needs to happen.
So
His
Wakanda
dad's
would
death-
still be Wakanda would still be secluded from the world.
exactly. The
Right.
dad wouldn't have died, or King. It's not King T'Challa, is it? It's
that is King T'Challa.
No, well, it's
T'Chaka.
his dad. Yeah, his dad's name's T'Chaka.
T'Chaka. So he wouldn't have died because he would have never left to go. Basically
No, he would have died still
how?
because Bucky Barnes.
I guess
Actually, you know what? No, because you wouldn't have had Ultron.
exactly.
You wouldn't have Zemo.
Because Zemo would have never attacked.
No.
Because
What about Stephen Strange? Would you have had? Would you have Stephen Strange on there?
Stephen Strange would still become the Sorcerer
Could
Supreme.
yes, yeah, because
wasn't-
nothing from the Avengers' life affected his life essentially.
To
Because
become
he was
Or what about the Guardians?
Well, that depends.
Would they have even come down to Earth at that point? See, there's all these lingering questions that I feel like this episode could have
think they
left
would've-
us with.
They
I
would
think-
have eventually, but it's like
they would have eventually.
the only
because of
reason
Peter.
why is because
of
the
Peter Quill.
I was gonna say
But see, in the second episode, it did a good job with the ending because it didn't tell us entirely what could have happened. I don't think, maybe I'm sounding wrong when I say this, but I'm not asking for like an entire second story to come off from this. What I'm asking is like clear answers as to where this could have gone. Because in the second episode, we know that T'Challa got taken by, Yondu and he became Star-Lord, right?
The thing is that
In the ending of the second episode, Peter Quill gets taken by Ego. We know that. And we know because the Watcher basically says that this could have basically led into the end of the world. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
Here we just see him unveiling the shield and Captain Marvel. What happened to the other characters? Where could we have gone from this?
in all
ended.
fairness, I felt like this was a different universe.
It is a different universe.
Yeah.
Because we know Steve Rogers is Capped here, not Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode for me, if I'm going to be honest, is better than the first one, just not as good as the second one.
Yeah, it's not.
I like it more than the second one.
Explain yourself, Feige.
I'm not Feige.
You have Marvel on you.
You put that there.
Exactly. You're playing Feige right now.
I'm not playing
Play a
Feige.
role.
I am my own
Put-
person.
Oh, Jesus. You just pop stereos everywhere right now.
So
Dare you? First, you kill the Avengers, and then you take my ears. Haven't you taken enough?
Nick, can you hear anything I'm saying?
What? I see your mouth open, but nothing inside.
So why do you like this one instead of the second one?
I just do.
Why? That doesn't. Okay, yeah, I just do.
Because I just
Because
do.
I just do.
Well, what about it?
I did. I just like how it was just. I don't know.
The idea is clever.
Yeah.
I do like
No,
the idea.
is clever.
The
I didn't
idea
mind
is
the
clever.
ending. I don't know.
The ending did make me want to see what happens next.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I didn't question it as you did.
Well,
it didn't
just
bother
interesting.
me. As
No,
much.
it's not that it bothered me.
Yes, it did.
No, it does. It doesn't bother
You
me.
wanted
I
to
just-
see more, though.
I'm interested.
Brian, I'm literally seeing the vein on your forehead. It's bothering me.
I'm not. No, it's not bothering me. The ending is okay. I just wish that there was more.
No, and I do understand what you mean. And once again, I feel like this brings us back to that whole there should be an A and B plot, where like the first episode is the A and then the second episode is the B.
Yeah.
And like, and then it gives you a more like solidified
Yeah.
idea of what's going on in the episode or like whatever. We didn't get that,
No.
but for what we got, it was good. Could it have been better? Yes.
I think anything could always be better. It's just. I don't know.
think
It needs additions to it.
because they show you the subtle differences of what led to this universe,
Okay.
and I liked that they revealed that basically Hope was an agent for Fury, and that's what changed everything.
Yes.
I did
That
like
he was
that.
able, that he recruited.
He recruited
Hope.
Ant-Man's daughter. Yeah.
Which is interesting because that is an interesting idea of instead of going towards Black Widow, I should go towards basically a hero. Like we had a hero once.
I will say that there is something that these episodes are doing really well, and that's like making certain aspects of characters noticeable again. So like in the second episode, T'Challa we see is a very great influence in bringing the best out of people, which is a quality that we saw in Black Panther, but we're seeing it again here in very short stories. And then Nick Fury, we forget why the Avengers Initiative was a thing. And we get reminded of that. It's not the people, it's the people that want to do the right thing. It's the idea of giving themselves up as heroes and knowing the risks of doing these jobs and then putting their best foot forward and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the idea of the Avengers Initiative, which is a fantastic thing because you just think of like, I mean, it's freaking Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Like the guy just kicks ass like all the time. His voice is great. He's a great Nick Fury. He's a great actor. All these different qualities of Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury.
Also hearing Clark Gregg as Coulson again.
that
It made me miss
really cool.
Coulson, man.
Huh?
It made me miss Coulson.
Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, I really love.
Can you describe this man?
but you-
It's this guy with very great looking hair.
But here was the thing, though. That also reminded me of Archer. Because that sounds like a Pam line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of like, can you describe him to me? He's tall. He very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what? When you see him, it's a very accurate description.
You know what reminded me of? You said Archer. Now I recently watched the episode of Archer where
He gets cancer.
no, oh yeah, there wasn't. That was that episode. No, it was the one
it's a great
where
episode.
is it Lana and Pam? They start like Lana starts pimping out Pam, or no, Pam starts pimping out Lana,
No,
and
it's the other way around.
is it? Because she starts telling people like, "Oh, just say that you had sex with me," but you know, it didn't. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
in the
yeah,
end,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
Pam
yeah,
is like super annoyed that no one wants to sleep with her, and she just wants to be loved. So then Lana goes like, "Yeah, sure, just don't tell anyone."
Yeah,
At the end, yeah, that's the episode I saw, which reminded me of like, okay, now I understand where you're coming from.
yeah. Where like there's like little tiny like quips
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That it fits in the world of the Avengers and the MCU, but also it does kind of take me out of it a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it does, But no, I mean,
fun.
the episode was good. It's great.
Right.
I just think that it wasn't as good as the second one.
No, you're solid.
That's all
You're
I'm
right.
saying.
But that
Yeah.
brings us into something amazing.
Wait, can I just say before we go?
Oh, come on.
Dang
That was a
no,
great-
go. Okay, yeah, you're right. Go.
That was,
Damn it, dude, that was a good.
Yeah.
Dang it! I quit. I'm sorry.
Trying to,
I like
trying
I
to
gave
ruin
you,
our
I gave-
transitions.
I literally tossed you up like a Homer of a transition.
yeah.
And you went no. Anyway,
Slapped it back down.
for the last bit of the podcast.
Yeah, we got about half an hour left.
Yeah, we got about half an hour left. I say we talk. Which we definitely need to get into Spider-Man: No Way Home.
And
That
Bryan
sounds
comes
like a
back.
spectacular idea.
Hey!
It's a superior one too.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Is it less superior?
Very spectacular.
Less superior. Let's less of that. Anyway, so the trailer finally dropped.
Yeah, Feige,
After-
what happened?
After not well, no, but it's really interesting though, the idea of there was a rumor that I really do kind of feel that interview that Feige gave
Yeah.
was the kind of kick in the pants
Yeah.
that Sony needed, of this thing of like, well, there's definitely going to be there'll be a trailer eventually. Because honestly, I feel like those two companies, even though they're making a lot of money together, their marketing teams are not speaking. Like they're probably
Yeah.
talking, but there's a lot of miscommunication and I think, and I do feel like it's more COVID related, of like, this was supposed to come out this time. Now we have other projects that are coming up, and then
What I want to know
Spider-Man's
is how
coming
that
up.
trailer released, though, because the leak was only. I saw the footage. Okay, I didn't see the footage. I only
I
saw
did.
like
You
the
saw
first 2 seconds.
I
Because
actually
I
watched
did not
it.
want. Did you watch the leak?
I watched the leak,
I
honestly.
didn't. I was like, I gave my phone to my fiance, and I'm like, look, because one of my.
Good? Is it good?
No.
Does it look good?
So here's the thing. I didn't realize what was going on until it started trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to look through the trends and see what happened. And then I sent you the screenshots of supposedly what was supposed to be in the trailer.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And then the trailer released like a couple hours later.
a couple hours later at 7 the next day.
Yeah.
So then I put on Facebook, like, if these leaks are true, I'm going to cry. I get a message from a friend that I used to work with at Disney, and she sent me this link, and she's like, if you want to see it, it's right there. So I clicked on it. I saw 2 seconds, and I handed the phone to my fiance. I'm like, I'm not ready to watch this because I want to watch it in its full, like...
Were your pants on or off?
Off.
I have too much respect for that.
Just Tommy Pickles in it? Just
So I hand it over to her, and I'm just like, if it is what it is, if it is what I think it is, I want to wait until it gets released in like full definition. Like, I don't want to see it off a crappy thing. And she's like, okay, I'll watch it because I want to watch it. I'm like, all right, fine. So I'm like there. I'm like pacing back and forth.
You were pacing back and
I was
forth?
pacing back and forth because I was just like, holy crap. She goes like, okay. This was her reaction, literally. She's like, okay. Uh-huh.
Does she not
Okay.
know?
No, hang on. So she goes, like minute in. Afterwards, the part happens. She goes, and she looks at me dead straight in the eye, and I stop, and I'm like, no. And she's like, oh no, you should wait. And she like stops it right there. And I'm like, oh God. So the entire time I was like full on panic, like my balls they felt tight. I was like, oh my God, I had to wait.
Okay, so let's go through let's go through the trailer. Let's go through what we know.
Like
The trailer
step
from
by
the
step.
beginning.
No, but I mean, like, let's go through what we know so far.
Okay.
So
Before the trailer came
Pull
out?
out the,
Well,
pull out
no.
the clipboard, guys. Here we go.
no, like from what we saw in the trailer. This is
Okay.
what we know of so far.
Yeah.
We know that
April
Tom-
22nd.
I hate you so much. Anyway, what we know so far is that Spider-Man's identity has been revealed to the world, and everybody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. He's also getting
Thanks
framed.
to James
And
Jonah
he's also
Jameson's J.K.
being
Simmons.
framed for Mysterio's murder and also the destruction of London.
Mm-hmm.
He is now in legal troubles, and also it looks like everybody around him is in legal trouble.
Yes.
And he is in desperate need of help, so he then goes to Doctor Strange to fix this.
Yeah.
He asks the doctor, hey,
What if this never happened?
yeah, like, what about if everybody just forgot I was Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Would that make everything easy? That would just make everything easier if, like, my life was back to the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange very eagerly agrees.
Can I just say,
So,
one of the best
That
parts,
was the... Okay, go ahead.
one of the best parts for me in that trailer was seeing Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
but as the Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme with the gray locks in his hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
when
that
I
was
saw
pretty
that,
good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
if this is what you're going to look like
Moving
in the
forward.
second,
Yeah.
my
You're
God.
gonna look sick. You're gonna look sick.
Holy
So-
crap. Can we get the flares
So-
up at the top too?
So that was the biggest
The
kind of
wink? Was it the wink?
No, it was no. That was the biggest, not complaint, but like people questioning, was Doctor Strange agreeing to do that?
So my thing is that
Yeah.
I feel that it could be one of two things. One,
Mephisto.
no,
Stop that.
Dang it.
it's what was it? Doctor Strange and his own ego,
Yes.
thinking that he can. He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
I can do anything. Like I stopped Dormammu.
Mhm.
We stopped
Thanos.
Thanos.
I saw all millions of timelines and I told Tony Stark which one.
Yeah, exactly.
Without telling him.
I have like a simple memory spell shouldn't be too hard.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Like a simple memory spell shouldn't be too difficult. We can immediately
do that,
We can
yeah.
do this. This is easy. 2. What about if he is enchanted?
By
That'd be-
Mephisto.
Not by Mephisto. By the,
Everyone needs to stop with the Mephisto thing.
what about if he is enchanted by another sorcerer?
Like,
Mm-hmm.
Like what's his name? Oh my god. What's the sorcerer that was in the first one? That helped train him?
Oh, I forgot his name.
Ooh, you bring up a good point.
Well, he was about
What if
keeping
it's not
order, though,
him?
right?
But
No.
he was about the fact that there's too many magicians
That's
and there's
right.
too much magic in the world.
Hold on, I got it. Give me a second. Give me a second.
and everything else, and he wanted more control over magic.
Do you want to go back to this, or do you want to
Mordor.
Mordo. He could be enchanted by Mordo. He would. There's several reasons on why Doctor Strange agrees to this, unsure of what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So he agrees. Peter, what it sounds like is the spell is something of like a wish granting spell.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the simpler the wish is, the more accurate it is.
It'll be, yeah.
And it kind of sounds like what happens is that as
he keeps adding on.
he keeps adding on to the wish, and that's what keeps bringing in ring after ring after ring.
And then you could see it. All the rings are shaking.
They're shaking because you're adding too much. And he even says,
"Sit down,
stop.
Bryan. Don't get up. Don't do this."
But he even says, "Stop talking," because he's adding more and more onto this wish.
Yeah.
Or onto this spell, and he's unintentionally making the spell more complicated. And I feel like that's what bursts.
Yeah.
Because what I think is that he was blending in dimensions.
So I was just gonna kind of go there, but I think I know what you mean. Go ahead. I'll tell you my thought on that.
So
too.
the idea is that he's basically forming in a dimension of time, some universe where Peter Parker's identity wasn't told to the world.
Yes.
And he's basically blending the two together with magic. And while he's doing that, because he's
making it complicated.
Because he's making it more complicated, he has to pull from more dimensions.
Yes.
And he's trying to pull from more dimensions in order to fulfill Peter's wish.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the spell wasn't meant to do that. And that's what bursts the dimensions.
And makes it basically reality is kind of seeping and breaking apart.
Reality is going haywire now. And I think that would be interesting because I think that would also be interesting if that was also the Nexus event that happens in Loki.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't know what happens after this point.
Yes.
If that's the moment
that Peter makes and Doctor Strange are making the spell.
Yeah, if that's what's happening at that point. I think that would be kind of cool.
So I had that same theory. I was thinking that same theory as well too, but he went to go find a comic book.
What are you doing?
And I think we don't have it.
What are you looking for?
Go on, just go.
So
are you looking for that terrible comic book?
One More Day?
Wait.
One More Day?
No, see, I was One More Day.
Yeah.
That's why.
That comic book's trash, dude.
It is trash. I'm not saying
it's just
good.
funny that they're using that theme of it into the new Spider-Man movie.
It's interesting though.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's my take.
But,
You
That's
can't
it?
use that. That's
So-
my take.
Hold
okay?
on.
I've been talking about
I
this with
can't-
people
I-
for the
Well,
past
did
week.
you talk to me about it?
You
Yes.
haven't- No.
No. So then you haven't talked to anyone.
What are you talking about? Our souls are one, Brian.
We are the same.
When I say things, you say them.
So,
So everything then you're wrong.
So as
because
of-
all my predictions are wrong. Sorry. Okay,
no,
go.
So as you were going off of Nick, the whole blending, I was thinking the same thing where he's taking aspects of different Spider-Man realities, blending them into one, and then when we get the villains come in, it's from the different universes. But I'm thinking that Peter is posing as those. He's like the prime Peter in a way because they put him together, and like that's why Doc Ock sees Tom Holland as Peter, as his Peter in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next, after that, you do see some kind of like action scenes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You do see that people are very much, in danger. People in his life. You also see what looks like a black suit.
I think it's the black
It's
suit.
the black
they were,
and gold suit.
It's the
from
black and
Funko
gold
Pop.
suit.
Yeah,
from
which
the
I don't
Funko
know.
Pop.
We don't know what's the purpose of that suit just yet.
Yeah, we don't know what the suit is, what
Yeah.
what the suit's purpose is. I think it's a variant catching suit. So the box that Peter's holding when he gets put into when he gets put into his astral form.
fate. Yeah, astral. Yeah.
I think it's a prison.
Ah.
I think it's a prison to capture variants.
Of like the villains in a way. Okay.
Because there's a scene where he gets where you see Peter inside of like a room and you see the lizard attack him from behind, but the lizard hits a wall. I think that Doctor Strange, that prison that is there is basically like a variant catcher. I can put people in it and basically put them away. And I feel like the reason why Peter is doing it, the reason why he's putting him into his astral form is because Peter is trying to stop Strange from capturing them. Because he's basically saying, I have to put them back to their own universes. He goes, what's going to happen when they go back to their universes? And he goes, most likely, they'll die. Like they all died in their original universes. And if I send them back because they all got pulled before they died, they'll go back and die the same way that they did. Peter, being the good person he is,
Tries to stop that.
wouldn't agree with that. And it starts.
So he's not only fighting the villains, but he's also fighting Strange. That's an interest. I like that a lot.
Where now Strange isn't necessarily the villain, but Strange is trying to capture these villains to basically send them back to their world, and Spider-Man's trying to find a way to.
And Peter
save
is
them.
like that. And Peter will find, in his own opinion, a better outlook of a better solution. In his opinion,
Yeah, like these people don't deserve to die.
yeah.
Better question is, why aren't you guys letting the Spider-Man fan talk
Okay,
here?
first of all,
Because we don't have that kind of time.
once you start, I was just gonna say that again.
I swear to God, beat me by 2 seconds.
No, because we're reaching 20 minutes left
Yeah, I know.
of this podcast.
I really do want to just kind of give you the floor at the very end.
Yeah.
So that way you can kind of rant. No,
Why? I'm not.
no, because I do want to explain everything first. So really quick.
We want to get to this before you start crying. That's
Yes. I know.
Why would I start crying?
Because you get emotional.
Yeah, you get very emotional very
about
quickly.
things you like.
So anyway, what ends up so from this we do know that there are at least 5 villains confirmed.
5 villains confirmed. Yeah.
Because we have the Lizard, we have Doc Ock, we do have what sounds like Green Goblin.
William Dafoe.
Willem
No,
Dafoe's-
sit down, Bryan.
Can you
That's
just
not-
sit down? I will hurt you.
He's going in a fetal position. I think.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So we what was it? Possibly Sandman.
Yeah.
Possibly Sandman. We did see a lot of like earth
Got a
moving.
nice bulge.
See a lot of earth moving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do. Why do I hear clapping? What is down there? You just having fun down there? Yeah. Anyway, so what was it? We
Yes.
and
Mephisto.
not Mephisto.
No.
No. But there is at least 5 to 6 villains that are definitely confirmed, and I would enjoy kind of seeing some of those villains showing their kind of like where they were when they got pulled from the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I hope they touch onto that. And then it seems like, and then we'll just wrap it up here for our part, and we'll give Bryan the last 15 minutes.
Right.
It feels like they're holding back on if they're showing more if there's going to be Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, it seems like they're really holding back, and they don't want to show that at all. They don't want to confirm that, if anything.
Right.
They want to make that like certain, like how like Endgame was, like it had certain moments like how Endgame had. They want to hold that out for the screen when people react to that. And stuff
I
like that.
think he isn't talking to Tom Holland.
Okay, I see what you mean. That could be true too.
Because
Yeah.
people keep on saying, "How does he know that Tom Holland is Peter?"
Yeah.
There is no guarantee that he is talking to Tom Holland.
Again, Marvel edits their
He
trailers
edits really well. So what it could be is that as Doc Ock is destroying the bridge, another Spider-Man is showing up and he's webbing it up.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I think it'd be really interesting if during that, when he's webbing it up, it's a moment when Tom Holland runs out of fluid.
So what I noticed so I'll talk about the Doc Ock moment really quick. When we all see that they digitally made him younger.
Yes. Because
So, yeah.
it's
He's coming from that moment in Spider-Man 2.
when he's about to die.
So, because that was the one thing I was worried about, is that if they were going to bring in Tobey Maguire, specifically Tobey Maguire, would he be an aged Spider-Man or would he be the same Spider-Man? Look, seeing how Doc Ock is now,
What I want is an aged Spider-Man.
I don't think they'll do that.
But
Now,
here's the reason being, because technically they're getting pulled from different. Because I think it'd be really interesting if it was the same Doc Ock in the middle of the fight and then he got pulled from it. But also, how interesting would it have been if you have an older Spider-Man who has learned these lessons from Doc Ock, Green Goblin, all these other people, and he has now learned these lessons, become an older Spider-Man, and is now trying to deal with these new villains and kind of reopening up these wounds.
Yeah.
And he has to now reface, his traumas.
Yeah.
And I think that would be kind of interesting.
That'll be interesting. So we'll see when the movie comes out. But let's have
All right,
Bryan, come back. You're gonna come back. You got literally 15 minutes left.
Come on, Chatty Cathy. Let's go.
Brian's gonna come back, and now we will hear the biggest Spider-Man fan out of this whole podcast.
I'm a Spider-Man. You under the table. Let's go.
Brian is now gonna say his thoughts on the No Way Home trailer.
Thwip. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right,
I'm back.
Don't bring this attitude.
Yeah,
I'm bringing
no,
this attitude because you guys
no.
were all assuming these
Hold on,
things.
hold
And I'm
on.
just like, what the heck? Like,
First
none
off-
of these assumptions
Hold on.
seem right.
First
What?
off, you don't get to walk out of the podcast 3 times. And
I
then
didn't walk out. I literally was laying on the floor the entire time.
And then come at us.
Hey, guys.
And then come at us with that kind of attitude, right?
I can come in with whatever attitude I want.
I'm wasting your time.
Yeah, I know you are.
I was just gonna
What
say.
are you gonna do? Is Rene gonna be like, "That's our time, folks. We're gonna wrap
Yeah,
up the
that's what I
episode
was
right
gonna
now"? No, he's not.
Turn off your mic.
You're not gonna wrap up. Go ahead, turn off my mic. See what happens. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You can't do it. You guys have no power over me. Anyways, No Way Home.
I'm gonna hit his wire.
Shut up.
Weak wire.
Honest to God, I understand it's a meme, but when you guys say things like, okay, he's wishing for that and doing this and hoping for that, is it that hard to believe that it is more than just borrowing from, one more day?
Explain yourself.
Explain myself, the whole wishing aspect of it,
Okay.
like pulling these things. Like when I had to see that trailer maybe 4 different times to kind of figure out what was going on. Because the one thing that really got me was that scene where Peter is turning around because something is attacking him from behind, and it looks like a black figure. I was thinking it might have been the symbiote, it might have been the lizard. We don't know exactly what's going on, but what
Wait,
really
which black figure are you talking about?
when he it's like literally like a second scene where he's like facing this way and turns around real quick because something is getting.
And something hits the wall, right? It's the
I believe so.
It's the lizard.
Do we know it's lizard? I saw the little thing, the little tail.
It's the lizard.
I was also thinking scorpion
It's the lizard.
because
could be.
It could be
No.
the scorpion.
It's Tom Holland's lizard. If you look at the figure,
Tom
you look-
Holland
Or
lizard.
Andrew
or
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's literally the same artwork. He has the bald head. He has the long tail.
I
everything
only
like
saw
that,
the
and he has
tail hit
claws.
the glass.
You have
So
to pause it and then turn up the resolution.
We'll
You can see
we'll
it.
watch it after this podcast.
yeah,
Go ahead.
we'll figure it out afterwards. But it got me thinking,
Yeah.
like, okay, all of this is kind of like too close to the whole one more day aspect. Like, granted, the story's not good. Like, I know I've read that story multiple times. It just doesn't make any sense. It's very stupid. But you have Peter going in there saying, like, I wish that this never happened. Automatic, like, right there, like one more day. Okay, but then I want this and I want that and all these other things, and he's messing with the timeline and all this other stuff happens. Is it that hard to believe that Mephisto's going to be in this one? Granted, we probably still won't get him, but like, you really have to think that there's way too many influences here for something else to not be an influence. Like, for him to not be an influence here.
Well, that
right?
was the same thing with WandaVision. And
Again.
it didn't happen.
It didn't. Who's to say that maybe he wasn't manipulating different things? Again,
true.
You guys even said it yourself that Marvel really edits these trailers.
Yes.
To a point, right?
Right.
So there are a lot of pieces here. Who is he winking at? Who is Doctor Strange winking at? Is he winking at, Tom Holland, Peter Parker? Is that wink supposed to be in another scene? Again, I didn't even think about this. Doc Ock, who is he referencing when he says Peter? He's never seen this Peter. So how would he know that this is Peter Parker? Right? Again, you are alluding to the fact that he might be talking to, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Because he would definitely know who that is.
Exactly, because he knows how that person looks like.
Exactly.
So, yes, they could be chopping up different things. One of the scenes that doesn't make any sense as to why it's on there is the train scene.
The one where it turns into like 8 trains.
Exactly.
And they're going
and
through the
warps
Grand
it.
Canyon.
Exactly. What's the point? Why is Doctor Strange wearing the Eye of Agamotto? Like, why does he
And he doesn't
need-
have he doesn't have his levitation cloak on either.
What,
No.
So what about if Peter wasn't the only one? What if he wasn't the only variant?
What if he wasn't the only one on the train?
But what I'm saying is, what if he isn't the only variant? What
No.
about if we have different Doctor Stranges?
He could be dealing with different Doctor Stranges in
Yeah.
that one.
And what about if they're just Sorcerer Supreme? What about if one of them's Kang? Or
Could
a
be.
Kang?
Oh yeah.
The problem is that you can't have, and I hope it doesn't go into this direction, because then you do get a Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. When you add too many characters, you
There is.
can't, you can't really have a solid story.
That's the one thing that's always hurt Spider-Man. A Spider-Man movie is always hurt when there's more than like one or two villains.
Yes.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Bless you.
In Spider-Man, in Spider-Man 2, you have Doc Ock.
Yeah.
It's Doc Ock and who else? Is it just Doc Ock?
And Spider-Man 2? Yeah, just Doc Ock.
It's just Doc Ock, just Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man, and then you have three villains in the second one.
The birth of Hobgoblin, Sandman, and the symbiote.
Yes, and then in Amazing Spider-Man, all you have is what? Lizard.
The Lizard.
Is the first one.
And then the second one, it's Electro.
It's Electro and Green Goblin.
Is it Green Goblin?
Yeah, because Harry turns into Green Goblin at the end. Green Goblin convinces Electro that
Where does Rhino pop in? The second one? The first one? At the end of the first one?
He's at the end of the second one.
The end of the second one.
It's
Which
after
makes
it's after Gwen
He's in the
Stacy
beginning
dies.
and then he's at the end.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
At the, it's when Gwen Stacy dies.
Yeah. Snapped.
Yeah,
Neck.
But
Whoa.
the reason why I'm saying that is because there.
What if we get Mary Jane? Like
We do have
actual Mary Jane. Actual Mary Jane.
She
is
is
actually
actual
Mary
Mary
Jane.
Jane, you bastard.
Not Zendaya, but like
She is Mary
the
Jane.
other Mary Jane. Like
You mean Kristen Dunst?
Yeah.
Mary
Dunst?
Jane.
yeah,
I can see that.
that'd be dope.
That would
I-
be.
Here's what I want. I want Mephisto back, but Bruce Campbell is Mephisto.
You mean Mysterio?
I mean Mysterio.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm like
I was
Mephisto.
like-
Sorry. I
I was like, he
want,
never played.
no, I want him to play Mysterio
Yes. Yeah.
From
from
The Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi.
Because that was the original idea
That was
for
the original
Spider-Man
idea
4.
for Spider-Man 4.
It was going to open up with Peter Parker or Spider-Man walking in the police department, and he's walking in Mysterio,
Mysterio.
but he's on helmet, and it's Bruce Campbell just.
what if it's Jake Gyllenhaal the whole time, but Bruce Campbell just makes an appearance, and it's like, oh, it was just
That's
an
fine
illusion.
as long as Bruce Campbell
I just want Bruce Campbell.
is
It could be
acknowledged
it
as
would be-
Mysterio.
yeah, it would
That's
be
a funny
fun to-
little cameo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fun.
It's a funny, and I think that would be hilarious if you see him inside inside of that little prison that I'm talking about.
The problem with this one,
Could you imagine him with the little fishbowl helmet and you see Bruce Campbell? He's all overweight and stuff like that, and he's just sitting inside of that glass prison,
Oh, God,
and he's
oh,
just
God.
like, "You gotta help us, kid."
the problem, we said this before. The problem with Spider-Man movies when you have too many villains,
Right.
right? But if these villains, as much as it would, hurt to just kind of see them as cameos, what if these guys are just little snippets, little cameos? Doc Up could be like. I think there's certain ones that might not be.
I think. Well,
But
yeah.
we got to think about this. This movie probably is going to have a runtime of about maybe 120, 140, right? Minutes, like about an hour or 2 hours in,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay, I thought you meant like an
Hour and a half,
20.
2
I was
hours.
like, what?
What about if they use this to explain Kraven the Hunter?
That could be.
Please.
That could be a possibility.
Because-
the thing is too is that Sony has been nonstop. Like Sony has been trying to work in Sinister Six for years.
This could be the movie to do so.
So this is. I think this is the movie where they're finally going to try and do that, but also with villains that people loved in the past Spider-Man movies. And
Why
stuff
not
like
use
that.
Why not use villains that we've already know and love?
What
Yeah,
if
with actors
the
we
whole
we
Alfred
recognize
Molina
with, yeah.
thing isn't that they just CG'd how young he is now, and then in the actual movie he's a little bit older?
That would be interesting.
Right?
That'd be interesting. That'd be a
But
different.
If you
change up,
want
yeah.
an old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, wouldn't it be interesting if he did survive the death? Granted, he drowned in, Spider-Man 2.
Right.
But, like, what if he did survive? And what if he came back?
I feel like he
as a-
drowned and also died of radiation poisoning. I feel like those are just hand in
his,
hand.
his body had to like
Somehow
he had a giant,
Yeah.
Somehow he
radioactive
lived.
core as he sank. I feel like that was like, if he
Which,
didn't
again-
drown,
again-
he definitely probably died of that.
Spider-Man 2 is great, but as of like a major theme for Doc Ock's reasoning to be around is to recreate something that failed already. I didn't like that, honestly.
No,
but
of course.
I did like how sinister he was, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That
So,
was-
like,
it
what
was-
if he, like, this it's just an older Alfred Molina, an old Doc Ock.
That's
If we do
fine.
get him more, like, beat up, more,
I do like how they gave him the hair of Doc Ock, like in the comic books. It's kind of like a little
With the
frizzy.
glasses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the glasses, and he has a little frizzy on top, but it's like cut all around right here.
Right.
Yeah, I do like that.
No, but honestly, I wouldn't mind if this isn't the exact Sam Raimi Spider-Man that we know and love.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about if this is? What about if there was? We have the. What was it? Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
What about if there's another universe where Doc Ock lives?
Mm-hmm.
That could also be a possibility.
I mean, they already showed us that J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson in this Spider-Man universe already.
Right.
So, again, like you said, it could already there be an Alfred Molina existing in this world, but he's not Doc Ock quite yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and Tobey Maguire is still Spider-Man and everything like that.
Yeah.
And also that could also be the same reasoning for Green Goblin. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't want the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want the helmet.
Well, okay, so did you see the leaked photos of the villains on set?
No, I need to see it.
Oh, I have them.
Okay,
I still
so-
have 'em. Oh, do I have them? I should have 'em.
I have them.
Okay.
If anything, you shared them with me privately.
Okay.
On my mess. So I'll show, if anything.
Feige, don't arrest us, please. They're all over the internet.
Let me see
They're-
it. Pull
oh,
it.
yeah. Here. Because it shows William Dafoe. And the thing is that it doesn't look like, I'm just speculating. I'm not saying confirming nor denying.
Does it-
I
but
can
does
either
it-
I have
confirm
to
or
say
deny.
this.
Now, does
basically,
does it look like the original?
it doesn't look
makeup?
like the original costume, if
No,
anything.
but does it look like the original idea for their makeup?
So he
they
has
had.
it kind of does because he has like a purple cloth around his neck and what seems to be like a hood kind of thing. So here, let me see.
Yeah. So, and Electro, Jamie Foxx, is wearing the yellow, the yellow-green kind of look to it as well.
So that's what I'm saying though. What about if these aren't the ones that we're so familiar with? What about if these are different universe versions of the villains that we know and love?
Yeah.
oh,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
because
Right?
Alfred Molina
So
is
it's-
older.
Yeah.
Because he is older.
He is older
That's
in
what
that,
I mean.
yeah.
Is that it's like now you start
Again,
to
Marvel loves to edit their trailers to throw us off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's way too much hype for this. The one cameo, I know we do have to wrap this up soon, but the one cameo, and I said this to you in
Oh,
a
that's
message.
so interesting. He's actually it's with the spots where it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, like he has like you see the purple cloth around his neck, and then there's a bit of what seems to be a hood behind William Dafoe's
So let me
head.
put this.
I like Jamie Foxx.
Right? Oh, yeah.
I hope whatever they do with Jamie Foxx is
yeah.
because I feel like that was such a missed opportunity.
The one cameo I do want is Jake Johnson.
Who?
Jake Johnson.
You say this all over
I
social
do because
media.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want this to
wants,
happen.
He wants Jake Johnson to have a cameo in the Spider-Man 3. The guy that voiced Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just
Nick
have him, like,
Miller.
I don't want him to be in like a Spider-Man suit, but I would love him to be like walking around the street with a Spider-Man shirt on or something like that, right? That would be fun because if you're already bringing in all these Spider-Men, why not bring in, that one?
And make a little allude to be like Tom Holland's talking and he hears him. He's like, he sounds weird.
Yeah.
and just walks
Or,
away.
what's his name? If you want Spider-Ham in there,
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney, have him there too.
John
Eating
Mulaney.
ham.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. Like, how perfect would that be if you're trying to do all these things?
I feel like first you need to do this small, like dip your toe into the Spider-Verse because this is a nice little like dip your toe of the live action Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And then if it does really well, then kind of go like, what about if we get weird with it? And then let's start throwing in more like Spider-Man and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited for this movie. It sounds like it's gonna be sick. I'm almost positive the trailer that we saw.
That's nothing. I think it's
Is-
25%.
Well, even Tom Holland just tweeted or on Instagram said this is only the tip of the iceberg.
So how much of this trailer do you guys believe is
Oh, we've
real?
only gotten maybe like
real.
oh real
Real. Because I don't think that this trailer is real. Like I think that this is a
No, I think there maybe 25% of this trailer is real.
yeah, that's 25%.
We are
That's-
we're not getting for sure things with at least characters shown. We are getting like just only a vibe of the film.
we got the
Also, set
goblin
pieces.
bomb.
It's a lot of set pieces.
We got the goblin grenade on the freeway. We saw that explosion. We saw Alfred Molina, Doc Ock there.
Really quick, did you see that meme of it's like what do you expect? And you see William Dafoe's Green Goblin, and it says what we get, which is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Green Goblin.
Oh God.
It's just like, oh god.
No.
A guy's like this, and he sees the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Goblin's all.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind that happening. I actually no. Hear me
Yeah.
out. I wouldn't mind you having Willem Dafoe and also having that
Oh,
Harry Osborn.
and Harry Osborn, yeah.
And Harry Osborn from there, and there being two goblins,
That's not
like a
bad.
goblin and a hobgoblin.
No, well, someone made a really like out there theory for at least when it comes to this movie is that Ned, because in the comic books Ned his friend Ned is Hobgoblin.
Yes.
But they said, what if Ned is Hobgoblin in this movie? And I go, that's the thing.
He hasn't developed too well.
He's been the man in the chair.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Man
been
in
the
the
man in the
chair.
chair.
Yeah, and I feel like if they went that route, it would be like, okay, maybe it's a variant then, if you're going to do that. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that would be. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a sick idea
Yeah.
of like a goblin attacking, and then when he captures him, he takes off the helmet and it's Ned, and he's just like, what the heck?
Yeah, even
And-
Ned's like,
Yeah, Ned's like,
So in terms of like, if we're saying that this trailer is like 25% real,
Yeah.
do we have any idea of like what could be in store for Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Because if we're dealing with the multiverse here, if we're dealing, there's this meme that reminds me of the meme. It's the three dragons Ghidorah, the three heads. One's like looking at the other one. One's like super serious, and one's really goofy.
Right.
It's all three heads being real goofy because it's Wanda who messed with the multiverse first. Then it's Doctor Strange, and then lastly it was Loki. They all messing with the multiverses at different times. So we get Doc pretty much messing with the multiverse here.
Yeah.
Does this have any form and ties to what happened in Loki? Is this going to be like a different timeline or
well,
something?
like I was mentioning to Rene, is that so we definitely know that it has to take place on what they call the sacred timeline.
Does it though?
That's where Peter is. That's where Doctor Strange.
That's where
is.
this
But
MCU
that's the
is
thing
based
is
on.
like,
That's where
does
the
this-
MCU is taking
Does this
place.
take, because that's the thing is when we saw Loki at the end of it, all these branches started popping up
Here's-
from the
here-
sacred
here-
timeline.
This is why I say it has to be. It has to be because if you start going that this movie didn't matter,
then
nothing
it's-
matters.
Exactly.
And then
yeah.
not only that, but also then we have to spend time explaining every single time that a new Marvel movie comes out that this is on the main timeline.
So is the Loki
And that
branching
becomes way too complicated.
Is the Loki branching timeline just going to be like
I-
kind of like its own thing at this point?
No, but I feel like the branching timeline is
because
what's
of this.
happening. Because mind you, in Loki, he is saying, "I don't know what happens after this moment," and then that's what leads to the branching.
So does
wasn't the
that
fact-
happen at the same time as
I
Doc
think-
is doing this?
I think what
that's too
happens
much
is-
of a coincidence though.
It's
do you
not
mean?
because
What do you mean by that?
how do you mean that it's too
It's too much of a coincidence. Yeah, that's what do you
That
mean?
you know
this
you
is
have,
this is the moment that what was it he who remains was talking about. He goes, I don't know what happens after this moment, and he talks about it like as if he's seeing something or he knows something's happening inside of the thing, and then that's when he starts going. The timeline is branching, like everything is branching. You guys can either deal with it or you guys can kill me. What do you want to do? Not only that, but then when Loki comes back to the natural timeline, he then sees that a new king is kind of taken over, and they're allowing the branches to break free. So, I think that this is Kang's plan. That Kang is allowing madness to go through the multiverse, and he's not chopping anything else. And what he wanted was Doctor Strange, and I think that Strange made a bargain.
with Kang. Oh, that's too far.
Maybe,
don't
but
know.
it's not.
Because Strange
Or what
is
if Kang made a deal with Mephisto?
But the thing is that we know that Strange isn't stranger to making a bargain in order to save
That's
order
true.
to save his universe.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. That's 100% true. But it just, all of this kind of feels like it's way too, because I felt like the original, like phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, all the movies led to something, you know?
Right.
This is going to be the one, is this the first movie that's going to deal with with phase 4? Because Black Widow didn't. Black Widow
No,
was more of like a
technically-
prequel.
This will be the first. Yeah,
This will be the first
This
one.
will be the first
So
movie
then-
moving forward for Phase.
No,
4?
no, because Eternals.
Oh
But
yeah,
when
we're gonna
does
get
Eternals
Eternals
come
Eternals comes out before it.
before it. Yeah, because we get Shang-Chi next week
Oh.
or this week. By this time
Because
this podcast comes out.
Because I think that when you see Wong leaving, I think he's going to Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
Whoa,
because
so there's a lot-
Shang-Chi happens right after like months at least after Endgame.
So I kind of have a feeling, and I know we have to wrap up soon, and I should have mentioned this before. Shang-Chi comes out next week.
Right.
That's the first official Phase 4 movie.
So that's
Right.
what sucks
So-
about this Spider-Man trailer coming out.
Because it took all the air out of Shang-Chi.
Yeah, all the hype for Shang-Chi is out the window now.
But now, how much is? I wouldn't say.
It did, dude.
It
That's
did-
the
yeah,
only
'cause I
thing
forgot.
yeah.
Yeah.
No one's talking about
No,
Shang-Chi.
no one's talking about seeing Shang-Chi right now.
But that's the okay. Now Shang-Chi then needs to have something that connects it to Phase 4, because if it Black Widows itself, no one's gonna care.
But I don't think it will.
You think that there's gonna be something important in here?
I think there's something important in here because the Mandarin and the Ten Rings are something
that's very important.
they're very important, but also if you go by the comic books, they are almost as important as the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. But they're
They're
treating them
almost-
differently in here.
That's
so I
the
don't know.
dangerous part,
Yeah.
But the
because
thing,
Loki
but we
said
don't
that.
know. But we don't know how they're being treated.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're getting glimpses of what they're doing, but we're not. But they haven't explained what they do
Yeah.
because that could just be a preference of the user.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could just be a preference of the user and not necessarily their power.
So-
like you could use them in that fighting in the fighting style that the Mandarin and also Shang-Chi are using them for. But also, what about if they amplify you? What about if they're like strength amplifying and their ability amplifying and reality?
Yeah.
How
luck?
important is Shang-Chi going to be to Phase 4? Now that we're really thinking about this, because that would really suck. That if this trailer, that would really suck. Now that I think about it, this deflated the anticipation for Shang-Chi.
It did.
Because
It
it
did.
did.
It really
but
did.
now, because now that you mentioned, I forgot about it, be honest. But now I'm interested because you have that scene where Wong is leaving into a portal. Is he going there to fight Abomination? Is he just going on to do something else? What is that purpose of Wong being in that scene fighting Abomination? There has to be something specific about
I
that.
feel that Shang-Chi is going to be like Mortal Kombat. It's going to be the Mandarin is stepping down, and it's who is going to take his place and try to claim the Ten Rings.
Wild theory. What if the Mandarin, now that the multiverse has technically opened up, what if, because Abomination technically,
He's alive.
does he exist in this universe?
Yeah, because
Abomination?
Abomination
Yeah.
survives the end of. He survives the end.
Yeah, he's
But does he
arrested.
exist in this universe?
Yeah.
Yes, because what was it? They even talk about it in Luke Cage of that was the Hulk destroying Harlem. That's him fighting Abomination.
Huh.
Yeah. And he didn't kill him. He just basically
He
knocked him out.
and
Yeah.
then he reverted back to which he reverted back.
And then that's why they changed his look, because the director said it shows the progression of the Marvel universe of where we're at. That basically,
Abomination's been alive for years.
yeah.
All
and
I'm
that
gonna
he's
s-
been like changing.
All I'm going to say is that Shang-Chi needs to have a bit of a Kang tease. Because if you're saying that Phase 4's threat is going to be Kang, if you want to make it relevant, you can't just have a side story that at the end of the day doesn't matter.
No, but that also, I think that What If is bigger than we think.
What if the
I think that the herb that they introduced in What If, I think that's going to be a major part inside. I think that's going
in
to be
season
mentioned
in episode 2.
In episode 2, I do think that's going to be brought up in Eternals.
Possibly.
I feel like that's going to be brought up in Eternals. I feel like things that are talked about inside of these What If episodes are going to be brought up in future Marvel things. Because why bring up these certain things without having them come up,
Yeah.
or so that way you understand them, or anything like that. That way, when you see it on the screen, you're like, oh, I remember that. And then What If also has a higher value to it and everything else.
It just hit me that if Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi would go to waste if it literally tries to just kind of Black Widow itself. Because,
also remember, Shang-Chi was supposed to come out before Loki
Yeah.
and everything else. Shang-Chi was supposed to be coming out right after.
COVID really messed everything up, as of like scheduling wise. Because we were supposed to get Black Widow before
2019.
Yeah, we were supposed to get Black Widow before all the Marvel shows. were
Technically,
supposed to
Black
come
Widow
out.
wasn't a Phase 4 movie, was it?
No.
It was supposed to be the
And-
send off.
Yeah, the send-off of Phase
3.
4. Or Phase 3, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. So I wonder what's going to happen in Shang-Chi. It would be very interesting to see Shang-Chi. I would love this. If Shang-Chi hints at certain Spider-Man events, and then Eternals explains certain things that are going to be happening in Phase 4, what it's going to lead up to, what is the importance of it, and all these different things. Thanos, we didn't deal with him because we can't technically deal with things that aren't, what is it called, deviants?
But even though he's a deviant,
They'll probably explain it a little bit more. I feel like the Eternals trailer was just kind of hype. let's go into this kind of mindset that Shang-Chi is more than what we believe it to be.
Right.
It is a very dangerous thing to do that, though, because if it isn't more than what it is, you're going to have people coming out of that theater going like, well, that kind of sucked, even though the movie could have been better, you know, because we're technically getting our first not really super powered superhero. Kind of has powers, but he doesn't really.
Because what it kind of sounds like is that the Eternals takes place, I think 6 months after the events of Endgame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6 months after the events of Endgame.
And Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi is supposed to happen, I think, a couple of months
Afterwards. So they're still dealing with the whole revival of people coming back from the snap and
I
stuff.
think technically No Way Home, because No Way Home takes place minutes after, was it Spider-Man 2?
We think. Unless it's minutes after and then it speeds up.
And then it skips?
It skips a couple months or years.
I still want to see Charlie Cox.
Oh, he's going to be there.
You think so?
I have a strong feeling. You can't. There's been so many teases of Charlie Cox being in this movie that it's like again. Alfred Molina was teased until Feige said, "Okay, here you go." Green Goblin teased until they even admitted it in the trailer.
I understand that, and I hope that that's right because Hell's Kitchen is real close to Queens, and it would make sense if Tom Holland needed a lawyer. That was the person to get him out.
I don't care if he's not in the Daredevil suit. That would be great.
For him
to
would
just
make
come in and
sense.
be like, that would be such a great inclusion where
What
Tom
year?
Holland just literally is like sitting there. He's like, "Oh, we provided you with a public
defender."
A public defender." He's like, "Oh, great. Who is he?" Charlie Cox walks in there with like a cane blind. He's like, "Give me a blind lawyer."
No, but not only that, but also I think that would be interesting because inside the trailer there is a scene where they all get arrested.
Yeah.
And then he's being questioned. Then there's a scene of him being out on bail.
Yeah.
How did he get out on bail?
Don't give me Daredevil. Just give us Charlie Cox.
I don't just confirm that Charlie Cox is in the world.
Yeah.
That's it.
That'd be dope. I'd 100% agree.
So it seems like people are expecting. So Shang-Chi obviously does take place after Endgame.
Right.
They're saying though it could take place. So Endgame is the year set in Endgame is 2023. It looks like they say Shang-Chi might take place within that same year after Endgame or a year after Endgame. So it's either 2023 or 2024.
It needs to have references to Phase 4,
Yeah,
though.
but that would because Eternals takes place a couple months after. Because they even mentioned, I think they even said 6 months ago.
Yeah, because they noticed that now that Thanos is gone, and then also
It's awoken.
and
It's
then
it's
the
awoken
Avengers. Most of the Avengers are gone. Yeah,
and not only that, but also it's awoken a celestial in the earth, which obviously they succeed because Shang-Chi happens.
Is the Celestial
The Celestials in
Fing?
Earth.
Is it Fing Fang? It's not Fing Fang Fung or however you pronounce that, right?
It's not Fing Fang Fu. No.
Okay.
But I think Fing Fang Fu does show up in.
By the way, that's the name of the dragon.
well, the Shang-Chi, it shows up as Shang-Chi, but they're not calling it Fing Fang Foom. They're calling it the Great Protector.
Yeah, they're calling it the Great Protector because Fing Fang Fu is racist as hell.
Man, that's a shame.
It's
It's a
racist
fun
as
name, but I get it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that.
Honestly, I mean, I personally don't have a problem with it. I think that it kind of sounds like a dope name for a dragon.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just basically
it.
covering their bases.
Yeah.
I do get it.
Let's
They
go
don't-
ahead and wrap up this topic.
Okay.
Last thoughts on the No Way Home trailer.
Go ahead.
I'm just excited. Obviously, I just want to see how this movie's going to play out. The one thing I do want to see, obviously, is Spider-Man. I just want to see Spider-Man in it. I want to see all of them interact.
It's like I want to see. I thought you said I want to see Spider-Man. I'm like, obviously you're gonna.
No,
see
men.
Spider-Man.
I want to
Obviously,
see.
and No Way Home.
I want
but
to
it's
see
not
them.
Spider-Man.
I want to see them address Tobey Maguire shooting webs out of his hands, like not having web shooters, but
Is it wrong? I do want not the Civil War, the Winter Soldier scene where they're all sitting around talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like they're on the run, everything like that, and then like there's like a scene, there's like a 5 to 10 minute scene where they just sit and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly do like the idea of an older Spider-Man trying to teach Spider-Man.
Jake Johnson.
Huh?
Jake Johnson. That's what he does.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you
Jake Johnson, Spider-Man.
Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
right.
He doesn't know Jake Johnson. Like,
No. Just say Nick. Just say Nick.
Nick Miller.
Say Nick Miller.
Miller.
Yeah. No, but I wouldn't mind kind of seeing like a Tobey Maguire trying to mentor this, even if it's a reluctant mentor.
Yeah.
And everything else, and I think that would be kind of interesting, even if also like Tobey Maguire, because Tobey Maguire is a great inventor. You can see that because he builds his suit in like a closet with a bunch of scraps.
Tony Stark was able to build it in a cave.
Speaking about that, what would be really great is if these are kind of like older Spider-Men, to see their fighting styles, because everyone has a different fighting style.
Exactly.
A different way of the spider. They all have different ways in that sense. Like Tobey's Spider-Man is very much like agile and like he's the wall crawler Spider-Man version. Like he can get you and he'll sneak attack you pretty much.
But he sneak attacks and then he jumps on you and punches the heck out of you.
Exactly. Andrew Garfield,
Gadget.
I think it was the gadget guy, but he was also the skater guy. He was very much like the cool moves, and he'll like jump over a hood of a car and like do the, but like from
and
different
say
angles.
crotch and just has crotch straight to your face.
Exactly. Yeah. So like he's that type of guy, right?
Yeah.
And then Tom Holland still hasn't developed the way of the spider.
He mostly uses his webs.
Yeah.
But
he hasn't delivered like a solid punch.
You see that more in.
I feel
Far
like he's
From
more
Home.
I feel like he's more of the thinker though.
Yeah, but he hasn't, like, even in Spider-Man 2, he still technically didn't, like, he runs away from a lot of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't established his fighting style yet.
Yeah. So it'd be really cool for these guys to kind of show Tom Holland the way, if they mention it, the way of the spider.
But no, and that would be kind of sick. And I also think it would be really interesting if the black suit is a suit that all of them helped make.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
If the black suit is more of a, they all tinkered with it.
Yeah.
And it has gadgets to take on the Sinister Six.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
I love that. I love that. Actually.
Yeah, like it's a suit that basically has like amplifiers, so that way you can take on Electro.
Yeah, like it can't be there in the final fight, so they're like, we'll make you a suit that helps you out and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And especially with Tony Stark's equipment, it should be relatively easy to do.
I'll just give my 1 minute thought because I know we're out of time. But for me, I am just I feel like this trailer just kind of quenched my thirst. There's a lot more I'm excited for, honestly, because it's 20.
You thirsty bitch.
I am for Spider-Man. I would more Feige, please.
Face, neck, and chest.
Basically. But no, I think this trailer was 25% true. I think that there were a lot of edits done that, we probably are just they're just lying to us. So that way when we go into the movie, we're like, oh my God, that wasn't there. What I'm most excited for is I feel like this movie is going to pay respect to people that have followed the Spider-Man movies heavily and really want to see a final good wrap up to, characters that we all grew up with. You don't just show Alfred Molina Doc Ock in this trailer or the Goblin Grenade with Willem Dafoe's laugh in the background. You don't do that without paying proper homage to like these movies. And as far as we know, Marvel has done a great job with these other franchises as well and respecting their origins and, where they come from, their source, the source material that comes behind it. I do want to see Jake Johnson with the Spider-Man shirt. That's a big one. That, that's a big cameo. But I will say this. If Mephisto is mentioned in this one at any point, I will stand up in the theater and point at both of you guys and be like, who was fucking right now?
Okay, then I'm not watching it with you.
We'll watch it by ourselves.
Yeah. Watch it separately.
Well, I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know right now. Mephisto's already been mentioned in the movies.
Yes, but
When?
I don't know. Okay, you
Bryan,
got me. When? Tell me
Nick
when.
knows.
Avengers.
In the first one? When?
What was it? He is mentioned in the documents that are handed to Captain America about the Tesseract.
I gotta look that up.
Ooh, yeah.
It's the original plot line that was meant for Phase 1.
Okay, but that doesn't confirm that's gonna like.
It
you're just
changed.
protecting yourself at this point.
I know.
You're just. he's like. I just, in case you're right, I don't want you to be 100% right.
Throw that out of your face.
I have the suitcase for the Phase 1, the entire movie collection, the actual suitcase there, but I haven't opened the files.
In the files that was it? If you look at the scene where in the first Avengers when Fury hands Rogers the file,
Uh huh.
the very bottom it says Tesseract that was once held by Mephisto.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Sorry, that doesn't mean to me.
No, I'll look it up. But I think that should wrap up my thoughts.
An hour and 50 now.
Technically, we spent 2 minutes doing that stuff. So let's go ahead and close it out, guys. I will say, before we close out, I have been in every issue of this podcast. Never once have I missed one. I just thought of that
next week. I'm gonna make sure you don't show up next week.
Issue 63.
Yeah, issue 63. No, issue 69. You're not gonna be here.
Not the good number. That's the fun number.
I'm gonna watch you limp in.
So Bryan gonna make it, guys. Just hear Bryan. Nope, just not him.
But thank you guys for watching this issue or listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds. Don't forget, we do have a website, keepingupwiththenerds.com, where you can find all the up-to-date information on things that we post up. There is a new video on our YouTube called That One Guy. It's a little short that we produced. And by the time this comes out, there should hopefully be another one. I do have more time this week to edit a couple other ones. Yeah. So keep an eye out, guys, on our YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed yet. They're, in my opinion, really good little short videos. We have fun with them. So
we actually had fun doing this one.
Yeah,
this new one that we're doing.
This one's great. So go on, subscribe. Find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Thank you guys for the Apple Podcast reviews. I've seen that we have 3 or 4 or 5.
Oh, really?
5-star reviews. So
cool.
Thank you guys.
Hey.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. And our analytics are showing that we're being picked up more in other parts of the world. So
why wouldn't we be?
Thank you guys. At one point, if I do see that there's a lot of listener viewership, we probably will host a Q&A portion of it. We are planning something big for November where we do want to showcase a couple other creators as well. That's something that's in the works. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's about it, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. The Nerdy Planet has been changed now, so we will be writing a couple articles in there, and there will be one that will be posted up soon from one of our viewers, one of our listeners. Mm-hmm. At the very bottom, and I'm going to start updating it a little bit more as well, because there are 50-something issues that I got to go through. There is a showcase of all the thumbnails in full resolution, where you can see the thumbnails that are posted on YouTube, and it has links to the actual YouTube video that has the podcast. So if you guys want to see us there, or you guys want to see the the thumbnails that I put work into, it is on the Nerdy Planet portion of the website. With that said, Nick, are you ready to wrap the show up?
You know it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 62. My name is Nick Valero.
This is Bryan. Rene.
Recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We want to thank everybody for listening to the issue. Hope to see you all